bags of salt.
Hey, good morning from the Frost Man. I'm out here in my backyard behind my garden shed, and I noticed something a couple of days ago that I wanted to share with you. So I'm just gonna take you back here and show you this nifty little thing. So there you can see is my garden shed and my beehive storage, and down here is my chainsaw carving area. But down here on this pile of logs is what I wanted to show you. Right here, one of my favorite things in the world. These are white elm oyster mushrooms. There's some there, and there's some on that side too. So I brought a knife out, and we're just going to remove these from the log. And put them over here in my bucket. See, in the south, this is a bucket. In the north, it's a pail. Beautiful little oyster mushrooms. Here, and we'll get these ones over here as well. Trying to make it so you can see what I'm doing here. You're better off cutting them off the log than you are picking them off the log. So I'm going to try and cut those ones and not drop them and give you a good look at it here. All that beautiful white flesh. These are going to make the most delicious cream of mushroom soup you've ever had in your life. Really, really flavorful mushrooms. There they are. White elm oyster mushrooms. So we're going to take them in, run some water on them, put some salt in them, and let them soak. You can see our oyster mushrooms. We took them out of the salt bath, out of the fridge. This is what they look like. And that is a delicious set of mushrooms, just waiting to be made into soup, mushroom sauce, all kinds of things you can do with these mushrooms. Just really beautiful little mushrooms. Actually, they're not little, but they're excellent little mushrooms. So we'll make them into something. We're going to make them into soup. We're going to make them into mushroom sauce. Might even make them into omelets. But no matter what we make them into, these white elm oyster mushrooms are absolutely delicious. One of my favorite times of year. It's canning season. So you can see what I've got going on here. Yesterday was tomatoes. Today is going to be these mushrooms. I'll move the camera so you can see them. These white elm oyster mushrooms. We're going to can those. Canning jars, canner, and I have a mountain of tomatoes. My darling honey Violet just absolutely loves tomatoes. She'd have them for every meal of the day. While I don't love tomatoes as much as she does, I don't dislike them. But the thing I love about them is I can grow them like crazy. So yesterday, 5 gallons of tomatoes went into sauce, and diced tomatoes. Today I'm going to do some more diced tomatoes. They grow like crazy in my garden, so I think I could probably pick 5 gallons of tomatoes every day for the next 20 days. So I've got to keep ahead of them and keep processing them. Beautiful day here in Northeast Wisconsin. We're going to get to the stove. I'm going to show you first. We're going to dice up those mushrooms and put them in the small cans and the small jars. We're going to can those first. Then we're going to work on some tomatoes and some beans. We are at the point now where these are ready to go in the cans. So here's the jars. We're going to put them in here. And you can see there's a lot of water in there. Where'd the water come from? Well, it comes out of the mushrooms. The mushrooms themselves are very much full of water. I did dry them. I dried them pretty thoroughly and let them drain for quite a while, but they're mushrooms, and mushrooms contain a lot of water. When you pick it up, you can feel it. You can feel it in the mushroom. It's kind of like you pick up a mushroom and it feels like a wet wick. That's just how mushrooms are. So looks like we're going to get 2 cans out of this, which is actually quite a lot of mushrooms. That's enough for quite a bit of soup. So we're going to finish putting these in the cans, then we'll put the lids on and get them ready to go in the canner, because that's the way we do this. Here we go. 2 cans of mushrooms. Wherever possible, I try to can things in their own juice. Most everything that you open a can of, especially vegetables, they're canned in water. There's only one exception to that rule, and that is pineapple. Pineapple is canned in its own juice. So there they are. 2 cans of white oyster mushrooms. We're going to put them in the canner with some tomatoes and some other stuff in a bit. And I'll just get that ready. We now have the canner ready to go. There it is. You can see the cans in there. You want to make sure you have enough water to submerge the cans so that the jars are submerged without the water boiling off to the point where it would get below the lid. Can you use a regular pot for a canner? Yes, absolutely you can. But what you don't want, I did this much long before I could afford a real canner. What you don't want is the cans sitting right on the bottom of the pot. So what I did was I took a coat hanger and I bent it into a spiral for the cans to sit on top of it, so that the cans weren't actually right on the bottom, which is what you don't want. So the other thing is, any well water that you use is going to have lime, hardness, pH is going to be up or down depending on where your well water is. And to avoid getting scale in there, you just put in a tablespoon of distilled vinegar. White vinegar works great, and it's just in the water. It's not in the can. So we got our heat on. We're going to let those boil, and pretty soon we'll have canned tomatoes and canned mushrooms. There are our canned cans. I'm going to switch the fan off here so we can not have that in the background. And it's time to get them out. Now, one thing I will recommend that you get is this little device here. This can lifter is probably the greatest little tool for canning. And I really am glad that I have it. So we're going to pull these out. I'm going to give you a quick look at them here. And you can see that inside the can, the juice is boiling. That's what you want. So I'm going to set them on the towel. And in my lifetime, I have had only one, but I have had it happen, 1 can explode on me. And that was when you set it on the counter and it was too close to another one. Now let's get a look at these mushrooms here. Oh, look at that. Don't those look beautiful? Get a good grip on the can, hold it sideways so you can dump the water off the top. Canned tomatoes, canned mushrooms. Well, canning for today is almost completed. There's what was canned yesterday and some of that today. There's the canner. And there's what was all canned today. Let me switch the vent off here. This was all canned today. I'm not going to show you myself because I've been processing tomatoes in a white t-shirt and it looks like I've been shot. So here is the last of what we canned today. And this is pickled beans. So we're going to set these right here. I got enough beans out of my garden for 2 cans of pickled beans these were just left over on the vine. So there you have them. And we'll probably take these to work and try them out on the boys. So that was canning day. And I hope you enjoyed the video. And we're going to do some more different canning. Got so many tomatoes, I might even be doing some green tomato mincemeat. So thanks for being here. And I'll get you another video on whatever I find interesting next.